It is now 7:30. It looks like we have all attending, so I will call meeting to order. And we will follow the guidelines that we have been using for the last 3 meetings. And I would ask everyone to identify themselves and state whether or not they can hear all of the other participants. And I will begin with myself, Ronald Crutcher, and I can hear everyone. I'm not sure that we've got audio on John.
This conference will now be recorded.
It looks like we have all.
This is John Lee. I'm here.
John, are you that? Okay. All right. This is Ronald Crutcher. I will go to John Lee now.
I'm sorry. What do you want me to do, Ronald?
Just identify yourself, and you might speak up for my benefit. And according to the screen I've got here, we shouldn't be able to hear you, but we do, which is good. Okay.
It's John Lee.
All right, we've got John on board. I will go now to Mr. Cook.
Mr. Cook is here and I can hear everyone.
Okay.
Why don't we just do roll call real quick and then I will go through the instructions to make sure everybody remembers how to do this with the electronic meetings. Is that okay?
Say again, please.
Mr. Chairman, I think it's best I'll just do a quick roll call, make sure everybody's here and they can hear each other, and then I will go through the instructions on how to conduct the meeting. And then we can proceed with the approval of minutes. Okay.
That's fine. Okay.
Madison.
Roll call. This is Crutcher. I've heard from John Lee. Josh.
Yeah, this is Josh Hughes. I can hear everyone.
Okay. And Glenn Adams.
This is Glenn Adams, and I can hear everyone.
All right. Kenneth.
Yes, this is Kenneth Choate, and I'm president, and I also can hear everyone.
Okay. All right. And with that, I will turn the meeting over to Mr. Cook for instructions, and we'll come back to the minutes. Next item on the agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Without objection, I would like the minutes to reflect that the board finds it necessary for the board to meet electronically for the health, safety, and welfare of Tennesseans in light of the COVID-19. Here are no objections. I ask the minutes to reflect that. The first instruction is the chairman will call each name, and which we've already done, roll call. The second instruction is each vote must be by roll call. The chairman will call the names, at which time you will provide your vote. I remind the board members that prior to making a motion or a second or asking a question or making a comment, please identify yourself. Mr. Chairman, your show.
Okay, the first order of business is to review and act on the minutes from the meeting of May the I'm sorry, of April the 23rd.
That would be the May 7th meetings, I believe.
This is John Lee. I move we approve the minutes of May 7th.
This is Kenneth Cho, and I second the motion. Mr. Chairman.
All right, motion's been made and seconded. On the voice vote, all in favor of speak up, I will begin. I approve the minutes. I approve the motion. Mr. Lee,
I approve the minutes.
all right. Mr. Schultz,
This is Kenneth Cho, and I vote to approve the meeting.
all right, Mr. Hughes,
This is Josh Hughes. I vote to approve the minutes.
all right, and Mr. Adams.
Glenn Adams, and I vote to approve.
Okay, we have unanimous approval. The minutes are approved. I will turn the meeting back over to Mr. Cook to lead us through appeals that we will be dealing with today.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like the record to reflect that adequate public notice was given both to the home builders and the public. I also would like to reflect that without objection, we will hear Aspen Construction, Crescent Homes, Drees Premier Homes, Ryan Homes, and the Jones Company appeals. The reason we are going to hear these together is that the arguments are saying word for word, which you've already heard. The first argument that home builders make is that they have obtained vested rights under the Vested Rights Act of 2014. So the lots at issue would not be subject to the impact fee. Staff disagrees with this conclusion. The definition of development standards, which is required for the vested rights to be applied, provides for local storm water requirements, local construction, standard for buildings, streets, alleys, curbs. It has everything to do with the actual development of the property. However, it has nothing to do with the actual construction of the residential structure. And that is when the impact fee is applied. And in fact, the property can be developed through all stages without ever having to seek a building permit, which triggers the impact fee. However, should the board find that the impact fee is a development regulation triggering vested property rights, we maintain that the appellants have provided no evidence that it's received any approvals from the planning department or planning commission for the properties at issue prior to adoption and implementation of the education impact fee. Appellant's second argument that they make is that the impact fee is required to be calculated on each subdivision, and the proceeds received from that particular subdivision is required to be used on educational capital projects for that specific development. The private act actually provides that it's the intent of the act to grant the Williamson County legislative body the authority to establish a procedure or system to collect the fees from the developers. There is no requirement that the county commission approves separate fees for each development. And in fact, it says quite the opposite. The act provides that zones can be defined by the county legislative body, and it is a legislative matter. The county commission has provided two different districts, one inside the FSSD and one outside the FSSD. And for those reasons, Mr. Chairman, we ask for these appeals be denied. I will ask if there's any representatives for the appellants present. Hearing none, Mr. Chairman. We ask for these appeals be denied.
You've heard the position of the staff. Are there any questions or comments from any of the members of the board? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion on the recommendations of the staff.
Mr. Chairman, this is Josh Hughes. I'd like to make a motion to deny the appeals.
Mr. Chairman, this is Kenneth Cho, and I second the motion.
Motion has been properly made and second. We will voice vote. And if you will, identify yourself and make your vote, beginning with the chairman, Ron Crutcher, and I vote for the motion, which is to deny the bill. And I'll go now to Mr. John Lee.
This is John Lee, and I vote to yes on the motion to deny the appeal.
Mr. Shaw.
This is Kenneth Choate. I vote for the motion.
Okay, Mr. Hughes.
This is Josh Hughes. I vote for the motion.
And Mr. Adams.
This is Glenn Adams, and I vote to deny the appeal.
All right. All the members of the board voted. The outcome is unanimously. We vote for the motion, which is to deny the appeal. Back to you, Mr. Cook.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The last appeal we have is from Celebration Homes. I'd like to reflect that they have provided no additional documentation and no explanation as to the basis of their appeal. However, based on the previous appeals submitted by applicant, the county maintains that the impact fee is not a development regulation or development standard, and therefore vested rights do not attach to this lot. In addition, the county argues that it has adopted and assessed the impact fee in accordance with the Chapter 120 of the 1987 Private Acts, as well as the resolutions that were adopted by the County Commission. And for this reason, Mr. Chairman, we ask for this appeal to be denied.
You heard the staff's position.
I do ask if there's any representatives for the appellant present to make themselves known. Hearing none, please proceed, Mr. Chairman.
You heard the staff's position, and the chair is ready for a motion on that position.
This is John Lee, and I move we deny the appeal.
This is Josh Hughes. I'll second that motion.
The motion made, seconded. You will vote, voice vote, beginning with Chairman, Ronald Crutcher, vote for the motion, which is to deny the appeal. Mr. Lee.
This is John Lee. I vote for the motion to deny the appeal.
All right, Mr. Hughes.
This is Josh Hughes. I vote for the motion.
Mr. Shaw.
This is Kenneth Choate. I vote for the motion to deny the appeal.
And then Mr. Adams.
This is Glenn Adams, and I vote for the motion to deny the appeal.
All members have voted. The unanimous vote is for the motion, which is to deny the appeal. The appeal is denied.
Mr. Chairman, that's all the appeals we have for you today.
Okay. Are there any other comments or other business to come before the board?
Mr. Chairman, this is Joe Horn. I just want to remind the board that our next meeting will be Thursday, June 4th at 7:30, and it'll likely be by these means as well.
Okay. If there's no other business, the meeting is adjourned. If you will stay on just a few minutes, Mr. Horn, let me see if I can straighten out my problem. I've got a camera on here, but I can't get to work on this